In this video, I want to talk about seasonal work. Seasonal work means going to an area that only needs more workers in a certain season of the year. Example, during the summertime in New Jersey at the beach, there is a need to hire more workers because more people travel to New Jersey beaches in the summer. So they need seasonal workers. They need people to work for 3 or 4 months out of the year as kind of like temporary labor. Example, during the winter months, uh, different beach areas in Florida hire seasonal workers because more people come to Florida beaches in the winter, height of tourist season, so there's seasonal workers. And you can apply that to anywhere in the world, at any time in the world where there's an influx of a high demand in a certain area for whatever reason, holiday season, whatever, and people hire more, companies hire more workers for a season, for 3, 4, sometimes up to 6 months. And many times in the Nomad community, people living in their RVs, vans, or cars, it is promoted that you should be a seasonal worker, and that's a way for you to make money. And that's true. But what you should realize is that seasonal work sucks. For the most part, take that in context. Let me explain. When you're a seasonal worker, you are pretty much saying that you are not going to build your career. You are not going to work on advancing your career. You are going to stay stuck in a close to minimum wage job. You're a temporary work employee, and you're not going to build a long-term career with that company or in that position. You're a disposable employee. You're temporary. Now, certainly, you could get hired full time, but many times there's not a need for someone to get hired full time, and many times these are type of job positions that are very low in skill set. They're just manual labor, where you pretty much have to give away that time of your life completely. Like, if you're a seasonal worker in the summer in a beach area, you're not going to be enjoying the beach. You're going to be working a lot of hours for low pay, uh, and that summer is shot. You're there to make other people's summer enjoyable. I just don't like it because it sticks a person in a low paying, low upside position with really no, it really doesn't benefit your career. It keeps you pigeonholed in a low scale job. Like if you take an entry level position, even if it's as low pay as a seasonal worker, let's say a seasonal worker makes $10 to $15 max. Even if you start like $10, $15 with a company at like an intern position or something like that, you have an opportunity, like in a regular company, in a regular type job, to stay with that company over time. Because how do you build your career? Certain times you could have to jump to different companies, but many times you build your career by staying with the same company and working your way up, paying your dues, learning the system, and gradually progressing. Seasonal workers, like, look, you're coming for a couple months and you're out of here. You're dispensable. Um, and so there's really no upside for your career. You're pretty much saying, look, every year I'm going to make, $10 to $15 max. I'm going to work a lot of overtime because I have to make when the making is good. And that's it. I think the attraction of seasonal work is, look, like you're automatically hired if you come and apply. People don't like rejection. So a lot of times, people live in this lifestyle who people don't like rejection. So they like the idea that if I just show up, I'm hired. Part of building your career is getting rejected in interviews and then showing up again and then applying again. Now, I failed in some interviews. I got rejected for some jobs and it hurts. And I understand the pain behind rejection. And I'm not saying, seasonal work may not be an option for you. And look, if you need to work, any job is an option, okay? When you need money, because like I said, living below your means, you have to have income. It's not just living off savings. You have to have some type of income. And so what I could tell you is, look, if you need to work, I've worked for minimum wage. You do whatever you got to do. This video is not trying to discourage anyone from doing what they need to do or doing what they want to do. This is my thoughts on seasonal work. Seeing people do it and seeing how it's just got low upside and it's got a lot of demand You're going to be also competing with foreign workers on foreign visas that are, they're here to make their money and, get out, do whatever they can to try to advance their life. Because for them, it's the opposite. Like if you're coming from another country that may not be as developed and, you have an opportunity to make $10, $15 US per hour, and it's an opportunity to get your foot in the door in America and start to, establish connections here and roots. It's a huge upside for a foreign worker. For a domestic worker, low upside, because you're already here. You're already here. You're established. You're a citizen. You have opportunity that maybe they don't. So you see why they could possibly work harder or possibly be more interested. It's a more upside for them. Seasonal worker is pumped by a lot of people in the nomadic community, and what I think a lot of people do is they sell themselves short. They sell themselves short because it's like, well, you're not going to get rejected, so just show up. If you want to advance your career, you're going to have to do more than just, you're going to have to be willing to get rejected. You're going to have to be willing to apply for jobs that you're scared to take, that you may not get, and that if you get, you may fuck up. If you want to do seasonal work and that's your max potential, I say God bless you and never be embarrassed about that. But I say in life, don't sell yourself short. Don't work for the same amount of hours you're going to work somewhere seasonal where you could work those same amount of hours somewhere else and you have more of an upside, build your career, establish connections with a long-term company, and build in a position that is not just seasonal, but a position that is needed all year round in the fabric of the economy. Seasonal work sucks. If you don't, believe me, I don't know. What I've seen in actually seeing people do it and seeing the upside, that's my opinion based on how I view it. So certainly if you have a different opinion, then I say, again, God bless. There's different opinions in the world. And again, if you need to do whatever you need to do whatever you need to do. But working for 10 to 15 hours, pretty much knowing you're going to get laid off, pretty much knowing that even if you're the hardest worker there, even if you do everything right, what's your upside? There's no upside. If anything, most cases they're not going to hire you full-time regardless because they don't need full-time workers past that season. And the second thing is, what type of position is it? Look, no matter, retail, tourism, there's very little upside in those type of industries. That's the reality. I could lie to you, but that's the reality. Certainly there's exceptions. There's always exceptions. But I just want you to think about that. If you are a nomad, you're living on the road, or if you're just a young person building your career, there's nothing wrong with seasonal work. There's nothing wrong with work. But what I've learned in life is you have to apply for jobs, not that just you're going to get, but that you may not get, and that you get rejected from, and that you're scared to apply for, and that you don't think you can do, and that you're scared to do. That's how you grow, and that's how you build your career. Why am I saying that too? Because that's how you own your life. Once you establish your career and you make a certain amount of income, because you have to make a certain level of income to gain financial freedom. In my experience, in my view in life, I don't believe you can stay at $10, $15 an hour, and that's what you pretty much sign up for when you're a seasonal worker. That's your max pay. And even if that gradually goes up over time based on inflation, it's always going to be at the very low scale of the pay scale, and it's never going to really exceed that. And so you're never going to be able to have financial freedom making $10 to $15 an hour. Even $20 an hour is very, very hard. Because again, you got to have health benefits. Again, you got to feed yourself. Again, you got to have car insurances. Again, you could have some type of payments. And this is just for a single person. Forget about being in a family if you want a relationship. So there's no way you gain financial freedom making $10, $15 an hour, not for an extended period of time. If it's for a season of your life where you got to do whatever you got to do, you do whatever you got to do. Or if you got money banked and you're retired and this is just for a little bit of supplemental income, there's an exception. I'm more or less talking to middle-aged people, maybe younger people. Seasonal work may be good for a season of their life because they're younger, they're just getting established. But I guess I'm mainly directing this towards middle-aged people. Or people on the verge of maybe thinking of retiring. Just be mindful that you're going to end up dipping into savings. If you're making $10, $15 an hour, either you're going to dip into savings or you're going to just barely get by. You're not going to gain. Your income needs to be at a higher level than your expenses in order for you to gain financial freedom. You can't just make ends meet and gain financial freedom. You're just going to tread water. So I want to address seasonal work. That's my thoughts on it. I see it talked about a lot in the nomadic community, whether it's working for Amazon for a season, working for this or that. But from what I've seen, I don't want to use the word. I would just say, yeah, I don't want to use that word. All I would just say is be mindful of the downside, of the lack of upside with seasonal work, and do whatever you need to do for your life. This is my thoughts and my perspective, and never sell yourself short.